This is video number 4 of the Revenue Roadmap. This is stage, it's called A to C Actions. It's the quickest and easiest way to literally put feet to the steps and start moving towards that dream and making it become a reality. This is the cheat sheet that I will send you if you give me a comment below this video. It is a summary of how to literally make this video work for you. Because remember, it's a proven way for you to make your dream come to life. I promise you, you will never struggle again with what to do when you're trying to become a success and make your dreams a reality, because this is going to lay everything out for you. This is the 4th step in the revenue roadmap. It is the simplest and most effective system for anyone serious about bringing their dreams to life. I always ask, why does it matter? Why is it so important to construct these actions within our steps before we do anything else? Imagine waking up every morning and you've got a path that you built. You're going to take this path every day, and you know where it's going and where it's going to end up. There are no side paths to take you off course. There are no washouts. There are no obstacles, just a straight path. And all you have to do every day is walk. Just walk the path. This is what it's like when you build stage A actions, because that's where we're going to focus. But it's not as easy as it seems. There's a reason people don't take the time to construct these actions they need to give life to their dreams. You discover that some people really are just not committed. They're really dabbling, and they're not really committed to their dreams. Others have built a life of spontaneity in their habit, and they're not used to planning things to do. They're used to just doing things in the moment. So it's hard for them to do it this way. And there's other people that are just paralyzed by fear for some reason, whether it's the fear of failure or criticism or whatever it is. So they're always just hoping some good thing will happen. But this is how we do it. This is how we leave behind that paralyzing fear, the dabbling, the crossing our fingers and hoping things are going to work out. This is how we clearly define what your future success is going to look like and how we are going to get there. There are 3 actions that you'll take in building stage A actions. Number 1, you're going to look at the success definition for each individual steps. Then you're going to answer this question: what 3 things can I do to make sure this happens? Then number 3, and this may be the hard part for some of you, keep it to only 3. Some of you can probably come up with 4, 5, or 6, but keep it to only 3. And I will show you how to do that. So let's look at action number 1. Let's look at the success definition for the individual step. The first step seems simple. All we got to do is look at the definition we created for the step. But it's hard for some people. There are obstacles people face. Remember, it's a building process, and some people just aren't used to looking back and planning. So they don't look back at what they just wrote. They just keep moving forward. Other people, well, they're just used to doing it in their head. So they just kind of skip this whole process. And other people, man, they just struggled through the first thing, and now they got to do this again. They really don't trust their own decision-making process again. So it's really, really hard for them to make these decisions. But this is how you ponder your success definition of your stage, of the step of your stage, even though you may not be used to planning out in such detail. So you've got step number 1 in stage A. What's the first thing you do? Take a step back and think what that first step is going to be, because you just read your definition for your first step, right? So now you want to create three action steps for it. So just take a step back and say, okay, so what's the first one going to be? Find the step and take a look at the success definition, right? And just read it through slowly. These actions are about just really slowing down and observing what you wrote down that you want to accomplish. That's the first thing you need to do. So here's an example of me picking up step one of stage A. So I slow down and I pick it up and I take a look at the step. First, I look at the definition, right? First, I look at the title of the success definition and I'm going to look it over. And here's the definition of what I wanted to accomplish in step one. Figure out what the hell you want to do and what it looks like when you get there. So that's the first action. I really stopped, slowed down, and really took a look at that definition. Now that I've done that, I can move on to action number 2 and answer this question. What 3 things can I do to make sure this happens? Pretty simple question, right? It's not that simple, though. There are obstacles that quite a few people face. Here are some of them. Number 1, just fear. Some people don't trust their decision to be right, so it's really hard for them to come up with a concrete, specific answer or actions. Number 2, some people are living in stress and anxiety, and this inhibits problem-solving skills. So a simple exercise like this is really hard for them. And other people let feelings get in the way of logical feelings sometimes, and they may be mad at somebody or they got these negative emotions going on inside them. This also inhibits logical thinking to be able to write simple stuff like this out. And it happens to us all the time. But I'm going to show you how to get past all this. This is how you write down 3 actions, even though you might not have faith in your own abilities. First, the things that you're going to write down, keep them simple. Number 2, don't limit yourself to 3. Don't be afraid to write down as many ideas as you can come up with. Just write them fast. Don't worry about it. If you come up with 6 or 7, no big deal. You're just writing down ideas of action steps you need to do, right? Okay, when you're done that, all you got to do is look at them and pick what you think are the most important 3. Here's an example of what I did for this exercise for stage A, step number 1, which was literally being able to write out your vision statement and how to do that. So what I did is I came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I came up with 8 different things that I wrote down. And then I looked at these things and said, okay, I can only pick 3. What do I think are the most important 3? Remember, this is my personal definition of what I think are the most important 3 things to write down. Does that mean these other 3 things can't be brought up at another time or another place or even mentioned in here? No, it doesn't. But these are the 3 actions that I am going to write in these steps. Create the atmosphere, picture what you want, and then write it down. That's what I came up with. This might seem redundant, but I need to go over it again because it's important. Step number 3, keep it to only 3. Believe it or not, people have a very hard time doing this. Sometimes there are too many choices and it just paralyzes them. They want to do the best 3, but how do I leave this one out? It just paralyzes them and they cannot make decisions. Others, it's just fear. They don't trust themselves to make 3 right choices. One of them may be wrong. Or number 3, they're just not used to problem-solving skills and they might need some help here. So, for some of us, it might not be that easy, but I'm going to give you a little way to do it here. This is how you're going to keep your limit to 3 actions, even though there may be so many choices. Yes, you see this right. There's one question you're going to ask 3 times. Remember the 8 choices that I had way in the back there? Let's see if I can remember these 8 choices right there. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to ask one question. If I could only do one of these things, what would it be? And you're going to pick the most important of those 8 first, the very first thing. After you pick one and you write it down, then ask yourself the question again. Now I've got 7 left. If I could do only one of these things, what would it be? So I picked number 2. Then I asked that question. I had 6 choices. I picked that question one more time. If I could only do one of these things, what would it be? And I picked my 3rd choice on my 3rd question, and those were my top 3. Here is an example of what I finally wrote down. Now, I wrote this down for me to understand it. If you remember going back to these 8 choices here, write it down, picture what it looks like, create atmosphere. Okay, it's a little bit different, but this right here is the visualization statement, going from A to B. So, what does it look like? Then you have the visualization statement. Then you create one, which means write it down. So, but these are the just different words that I used from just for my own benefit from the original statements. So, but what I did is I just wrote those 3 things down. Let's summarize our stage A actions homework. Remember, this is same as stage B and stage C. Number 1, look at the success definition of the step. We're building on our development. So the first things first. What do we want to accomplish with these actions? Right? Number 2, what 3 things can I do? It's okay to write out as many as you want, but in the end, there can only be 3. Ooh. And number 3, keep it only to 3. To simplify this, think important. What are the 3 most important actions that I can write down? There will always be more in our head, but just limit it and keep it to 3. This is the 4th step in our revenue roadmap. This is, I tell you guys, the simplest and most effective system for anyone serious about bringing their dreams to life. If you're serious about building your revenue roadmap, you've got to construct your actions in your steps. It all starts with stage A actions, then you'll move to B and C. Otherwise, you guys, it's just going to be the status quo. You're just going to be dabbling. You're never going to be committed to anything serious, so nothing's going to work for you. You're going to be habitually being just in the moment with no good planning, hoping things work and having no idea if they will. So you're constantly just crossing your fingers, and some of you are going to be influenced by paralytic fear and not get anything done. So let's focus on stage A, B, and C, putting 3 actions in each step.